Focus. Focus. How's it going, everybody? So, finally done with this 3-part series on the Iceco VL60. In the end, I ended up returning it altogether, asked for a refund. This is a tough one because the actual build quality itself is actually really great. It's the mechanics inside that build that failed, and it's their own employees who failed. This is one of those times where it's a double-edged sword because you really want to say, hey, it's actually a really great product, but in the end, it's really not a great product, but it's not due to it's not being built well, it just wasn't executed well. A few things happened during this little journey. When the first one failed, and I called into customer service, they have three ways that you talk to them. Technically, I guess 4, although 2 are kind of connected. So you can email through the website, you can chat through the website, or you can call them. At some point during this, they're liable to give you a number that you can text with them, which is awesome, except when you have that many people all texting through, which is probably like a computer-based switchboard for texting, what happens is it takes a really long time to get a response. You may get a response really quick, and then your next response may be a day or 2 later. So I kind of hit them on all the fronts. Whenever I first realized that my first one was broken, I reached out through their chat function on the website. It was kind of later in the evening, so I really didn't figure that I would get a response. At that point, I didn't know where they were located, so I didn't know what time zone they're in. I waited a while, didn't get anything, and I thought, well, I'm just going to go ahead and call the number and just see if someone answers, because some of these places do have 24/7 support because they have offices across the globe. So basically what ended up happening then, I ended up speaking to a very nice young lady. She was walking me through some troubleshooting tips that I could do to see if it was something that happened during transit. Now, that's a good thing, bad thing. For me, it's perfectly fine. I'm a maintenance supervisor by trade. I've been doing it for, 20, 30 years. I know how to work on refrigerators. I know what steps to take to do it safely. I know how to look inside and see and look and all that good stuff. Your average person that's going to buy one of these refrigerators doesn't have that kind of knowledge. And even if you can walk them through it over the phone, that's not a solution to a problem that apparently is well known within that company. Because whenever I called them, they immediately wanted me to check very specific things. Well, if it's a very specific thing, that means that it's happened enough times that you guys already are very aware of it. That's a problem. If it had been one of the minor things that they thought it might be, it would have been a very simple fix. It would have been a very quick fix. But that's really not the point at the end of the day. When you drop $800 on something like that, and I got it with discounts. Without the discount, it probably would have likely been way more. You shouldn't have to repair it yourself. You shouldn't have to troubleshoot it yourself. And I understand that there's a lot of freight involved back and forth, and it costs them a lot of money to do that. And I understand that they're paying their employees to be able to do this kind of stuff. I respect all of that. But at the end of the day, if you know there's a problem, then you should fix the problem instead of just saying, well, when someone calls in, it's going to be this more than likely. We'll walk them through how to fix it. If it's a onesie-twosie type thing, okay, fine. But if you automatically lead with it's probably this, it's happened a lot. So just fix that problem. To give you a little bit of an idea why I chose that one over all the ones that are available on the market today, I wanted that one because of the metal construction, the fact that the lids actually clamped shut, and it had an actual like refrigerator style, like you would have on your refrigerator at home, seal. I wasn't getting it for necessarily camping and stuff like that, although it was going to be kind of a dual purpose item for us. I was getting it primarily for a backup refrigerator freezer that was going to be running all the time at home, and if something was to happen and we were going to lose power for any length of time, we could transfer stuff from our regular refrigerator into that one and run it off 12-volt system. We have battery banks. It was kind of a, like I said, dual purpose. So I wanted that one very specifically due to those items, but also the controls were on the front. Whenever you make a chest style refrigerator freezer, their controls should never be on the side on a unit that large. The VL, if you've seen any of their videos, they even talk about how the VL is van life. Like I just saw a YouTube commercial today, and whenever they say VL, they say van life right after it. So, and I get that, and those refrigerators, that's what they're geared towards. If you put the controls on the side, which they did on their new Pro models, once it's in place inside your van or your truck or your whatever SUV, you're going to have to remove it or jimmy it around to get to those controls. So I wanted it on the front, which is where their old ones come in. The non-Pro, they are on the front, so you can access them no matter where you have it sitting. If you can open the lid, you can get to the controls. That makes the most sense. On their Pro version, now everything is on the side. I wanted that one for that. It doesn't have a Bluetooth app or anything like that, so I wanted to be able to get to the controls. I had a shelf that it was setting on, and I didn't want to have to get down beside it to get to the controls all the time if I wanted to adjust it or whatever, because I know someone's going to say you should just order the Pro. Well, the Pro didn't check the boxes that I wanted checked off on a purchase like that. Which brings me to my next point. I think the original VL series are being phased out. It doesn't look like it is on the surface, but when I finally received my second one, the box was so mangled, it looked like it had water damage. It looked like, I mean, the cardboard wasn't even really cardboard anymore. It was more like newspaper. It was just very thin. Structural integrity of the cardboard was gone. It's very dirty. That tells me that these items are sitting in a warehouse somewhere collecting dust because now they're pushing their new ones. Which, and again, I get that. So with the amount of time, money, and effort that was put into my two that I got and returned both, you guys should really invest that in making sure that those units are still working. And if you're not going to continue to make them, then discount them out, leave the warranty in place, but put that we will ship you anything that's needed, and unless it's a compressor issue, unless it's an actual mechanical problem, we're just going to supply you with what's needed. I mean, there's got to be a way to do this to where people aren't having this issue. We scoured the internet and couldn't find anything negative whenever we bought this one. We thought we kind of had a one-off situation. My wife finally came across a Facebook group where a guy was, where that's what it's there for, is for people to express their concerns and their issues. Iceco as a whole is a very great brand name. Like, everyone kind of knows them now. They put out a really great product. I have another one sitting right over there that's awesome. I have the JP30, which they put the panel on the wrong side, but we'll get to that in another video. This video is in no way, shape, or form to bash Iceco. They're great. These are just the problems I had. My wife brought up that all these positive reviews, she thinks maybe all of these products were sent to the people in exchange for a positive review, and there's really not any real life use in them to show the problems. After the problems that we had, I'm starting to believe that that may actually be true, which is really sad because, like I said, their build quality is stellar. The metal construction, the replacement part, you know, like after my lid incident that you may have seen in the second video, I'll try to put a clip in here. Now those lids are available on the website. I don't know if it's because of my issue and they realize that there's a problem. I don't know. The damage on my second one was caused by them. They even said that. It happened in our shipping department. I hate for a company that has such a great product to end up with such a bad name because of a few incidences where it got to the point that it did with me. So this video is more to say, hey, there is problems with this company, there is problems with their products. They did in the end make it right, but here's what you can expect to go through to get it made right. Although their customer service is great, I had one incident where it almost got a little heated, but other than that, like the communication and everything took a long time to happen unless you physically call them and get a hold of somebody. The shipping was horrible. Whenever I returned both of mine, it got there inside of 2 days. So if I shipped it this afternoon or this morning, by the morning of the second day, they had it. Their receiving department already had it, already knew it was there, it already showed delivered. I was already getting a message saying, hey, we got it, whatever. So I know that it's not the carrier. I ship mine back, it gets there that fast. They ship me one, it takes a week or more, which brings me to another problem. Whenever you place an order directly through them, or even, you know, I don't think I got the same email. I bought my JP30 through Amazon, so I think I only received this email whenever I ordered through their website. You get an email, at least I did, that says, hey, it's gonna say shipped, don't call us yet. it's going to show that it's pending and shipped for many, many days before the tracking updates. I'm like, okay, if they're shipping out that many products, if they're shipping out a couple of hundred products per day, that makes sense. Because the carrier is going to scan everything as received, but there's not going to be any updates yet, because then it has to go to each place that it's going and being loaded on the truck and so on and so forth. It doesn't do that though. You get a, hey, it was shipped, and then 3-5 days later, then it's in the system tracking, and then it's another 2 or 3 days after that. So I received one, contacted them the very next day. No, it may have been actually that day. It was that day. Contacted them that day, figured out that there was a major problem. I explained to them from a mechanical side, told them what I do for a living, and said, hey, what you're thinking was a fuse pop was not. It was a relay opening and closing. Then it wouldn't power up. Okay, cool, I'm going to call you back, which never happened. I'm talking to them, got it shipped back within a day or two, right? You have a 30-day return window. It took me almost the entire 30 days to get them their final one back to them, because of I only had 4 total days in shipping on my end. The entire rest of that 30 days was waiting on them to respond, or waiting on the replacement unit to get here so I could see if it worked. I still wanted one. Then I figured out it's the dual zone that's the problem. I finally found some other videos. People are having a lot of trouble with the dual zone ones, and that's a mechanical and electrical issue. The fridge itself is solid. It wasn't that people's refrigerators weren't working. It was reversing the zones in the middle of the day or the middle of the night, and freezing everything that's not supposed to be frozen, and thawing everything that's not supposed to be thawed. That's a fix that has to be done on the manufacturing level. The way that they do it probably will never work perfectly. I didn't really know that until I received a dual zone and was actually able to look at it and see kind of how it works. And then they actually asked me to take the panels off and look inside for wiring and stuff like that, which again, typical consumers, you don't want them opening panels on your product, but that's their troubleshooting, is having the consumer do it, because they asked me to do that before I ever gave them my background in mechanics. So after seeing one of these on the inside, now I understand why it fails from the dual zone perspective. So I was like, okay, I shot them a message and said, you know what? I don't think the dual zone is just meant to be. Let me pick a different style and you guys ship me that one instead, because I still want the refrigerator. I just don't want the dual zone anymore. I've had too many problems with these two. It's taken too long in between, so on and so forth. This was the only time that the conversation almost got a little heated. They responded and said, no, that per my phone call conversation, I would be accepting a replacement of the dual zone. So at that point, the next morning, I then contacted them on all 3 platforms. No, I did not call this time. I texted and emailed and just said, I just want to return it. I want a refund. Don't bother. In the meantime, we're laying in there watching TV, going to bed one night, and we hear something that sounded like a knock. So we come in here, and lo and behold, UPS had made a late night delivery here and dropped off the replacement lid for my second one that was damaged. That's when it solidified that none of their departments, they don't have any kind of like Teams page going or anything with customer information. It's literally whoever you talk to, they put stuff in motion. The next person has no idea that was put into motion. I had to tell them myself multiple times, I've already spoken to so-and-so, I've already texted with so-and-so, I've already spoke to someone on the phone, because they kept sending me return labels, they kept sending me, information, and it's like, guys, we've already settled this like 3 days ago. Why are you still contacting me instead of shipping my replacement? Even when I was going to send the last one back, there was still this huge breakdown of communication between their own employees. It happens. But whenever you're talking about something that's, you're spending hundreds of dollars, possibly even thousands of dollars for a product that, if it was van life related, could literally mean whether or not you have food to eat or not, you got to get your act together. So, am I saying don't buy from Iceco? No, not at all. I have one of their other refrigerators. It's great. They make great products. I don't have any complaints on that front. All of my complaints are on their customer service, communication side, the fact that whenever you do have a problem, it's because it wasn't quality checked. Like my first one, that happened for the first time plugging it in. If it was QC'd, that probably would have been found right there. The second one, whenever it was dropped, should have immediately went to reconditioning at their own warehouse, not mine. Not for me to put a lid on it, not for me to replace something internally. Y'all should have caught that. The two sides of the box was completely blown out from sitting there getting wet in a warehouse and being slid around for who knows how many years. That's where their problem lies. It's in their own organization. If they can get this stuff fixed, they can easily propel themselves to one of the best in the whole world, in my opinion. They have a lot of really great ideas. They put in place a lot of really innovative options. I feel a lot of their stuff is priced more realistically. You're not paying so much for a name anymore, but they've got to get those internal problems fixed, or else this is never going to go anywhere. At the end of the day, I ended up just going and buying a Dometic. I'm going to do a comparison video with my Dometic that I purchased with my JP30. There's some differences in what I like and dislike about each or whatever. So far, the Dometic's been stellar. And the funny thing is, if you do a search for the Dometic, they have their own list of problems. Just know Iceco has a huge positive, rating in the van life world, in the camping, in the overlanding world, and it's all good, but there are some negatives. Average consumers aren't going to make a YouTube video and say, hey, I bought this and this is what was wrong with it. They're just going to return it for another one, and if they have to return it 3 or 4 times, then they're going to make a post on their Facebook, and no one's ever going to see it. I tested this all the way to the end. I even gave them a 2-star review on their own webpage. Kind of to light a fire because my 30 days was ticking down, but also just to see how they handled it. They actually handled it very well. Well enough that I may go in and change the wording a little bit, because my negative experience isn't with the product itself. I never got to test the product itself. It's the fact that it was shipped out without QC. Not once, but twice. So that tells me nothing is being QC'd in their warehouse. If it had been QC'd in their warehouse, if anyone there was doing any kind of QC, they would have saw the damaged box and said, whoa, let's figure out what's going on with this one. Why is the box all mangled? I have videos of all of that. I opened it from the time that they dropped it off at my door. I have a video of me opening it and showing all the damage as I found the damage. While on the phone with them the second time around, they literally said that they were going to go talk to someone else in the warehouse and have them open one and test it before they shipped it to me. Why would you wait until someone complains to QC a product? That should have happened on the assembly line, not after I call and complain. So, again, if they get that aspect of it fixed, it could be a game changer for them and a whole lot of people that want an inexpensive one. Not everyone wants to drop $1,000 on a Dometic and have it bouncing around in the bed of their truck. An Iceco, on the other hand, for $500 that has an awesome warranty, it makes more sense for a lot of people. Anyway, that's just my 2 cents on this. Again, the product is awesome. I just don't know if it works. Till next time, guys, take care.